Okay, so a reminder, the front side of your opener is going to be review. Then the back side is going to be what we were working on yesterday, finding the greatest common factor. So use the rectangular model to expand each of the following products. The first number or set of numbers is going to be your, what of the rectangle?
Base, the width.
This 3A represents my height. The second set of numbers represents the width. So I'm going to label, ooh, I don't have a whole lot of room. Sorry guys, so I'm going to label that 3A. Then my width is going to be 2A. And what's my second width?
Can't you label it on the other side?
I had the green.
I could. Yeah. Such a problem solver. Good job. Okay, so what's the width, my second width?
Negative.
-5. Okay, so for the sake of what we're doing, because next week we will start working area models backwards, and that's where it's going to be important that we always put the height first. So I'm going to find the area of each section of the rectangle. So the area of the first rectangle, what's the height? What's the height of my first rectangle here? Amaya?
3A times 2A
Because the 2A is my width, which equals,
equals 6A squared.
okay? Paige, find the area of my second section of the rectangle. Which equals? All right, now I need to find the total area of the rectangle altogether. Can I combine 6A squared with anything?
No.
No. So Nico, how am I going to write my final answer?
6A.
So I'm going to come up to the right of the equal sign up here. I'm going to put 6A, not 2, because that would be 2. 6A squared or 6A to the second power. Okay? Good. Questions on that? All right. For now, I want you to label my rectangular model. So what's my first height? Then what? 3, -2C. Okay, my width. And my second width. All right. Nico, find the area of my first section, please, for me.
3 times 4C equals 12C.
Dylan, area of the second section.
-2C times 4C.
So you're doing -2C times 4C, which equals?
-8C.
I just didn't hear you.
-8C squared.
Perfect. Vernell, find the area of the top right section. So this one right here. Equals? What's 3 times 1? A positive times a negative is a? So -3. And bottom right. Kijan?
That's a 2C.
What type of 2 is that?
Yeah, 2C. Square. I mean, yeah, that'd be -2C. Minus -1.
So times -1, right? Which equals?
2C.
2C, because 2 negatives equal positive. All right, now I need to combine like terms. Now, if you notice, this time we kind of jumbled where the variable squared is at. So, Stanisha, where do I start? What can you combine? Because you combine these two terms here. So positive 14C. And what are you left with? Nice job. How many of you guys had that down on your own? All right, flip it over. so far. Does anybody have peanut allergies? All right, I'm just grabbing. Now, do I have to say what I do to my kiddos at home?
What?
You get what you get and you don't throw a...
Fish.
Okay. Alright, so I gave you guys cheat sheets yesterday to use to help you find the prime factors of each number. However, if you have a number over 99, you're going to have to do a factor tree. So for today's opener, we use 600 and 450. So your cheat sheets aren't going to help you. So you're going to have to make a factor tree according to our notes that we took yesterday for finding the greatest common factor. So the first thing that you guys need to remember, what does a factor mean? What is a factor? Raise your hand if you can remember what a factor is.
A factor is two numbers
Two numbers, be more specific.
that you multiply together.
Good. So two numbers that you multiply together. When you multiply those two factors together, you end up with the answer. What is the answer of a multiplication problem called? Raise your hand if you know the answer. Dylan? Nope. That's when you're doing fractions. Vernell, is your hand up? So when you multiply two factors together, you get the answer, which is called, let's try it one more time.
Prime factor.
No!
Wait, what do it start with?
Yeah, well, I almost gave him the, it starts with a P.
Prime. No, not the.
Amaya,
A product.
a product. Good. I need to get her a big old catcher's mitt. Okay, so when we're doing a factor tree for 600, you need to think of two factors that you can multiply to get to 600. Now, can you use different factors? So like, could one person use two factors and another person use two different factors? Yeah, we're going to end up with the same prime factors at the end. So Stanisha, 600, what two factors did you use? Okay,
That's what I missed it. Hold on.
that's okay.
6. You're gonna use 3 and 2. Yeah, circle that. And then you're gonna go to 100. You're gonna use 50 and 2.
Okay,
And 72 and with 600. I mean, with 550, you're gonna use 5 and 10. You're gonna get 6 with 5, and then out of 5, you're gonna use 5 and 10.
I did 10 and 10.
and did you end up with the same factors?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. That's what I would have used too for 100, 10, and 10. But it's all right. We all end up with the same prime factors. Why did we circle these numbers, Tanisha?
Because you don't know.
You can't go anymore because they are prime numbers. So with my prime numbers that I now have circled, I'm going to drop down and I'm going to write them in order from least to greatest. Okay? So I'm going to drop down. So how many 2's do I have? 1, 2, 3.
3.
So I'm going to put 2 times 2 times 2.
1, 3. 1, 2.
2, 5.
2, 5.
Now, 600 also has variables. Do I need to write m times m times m? No. I have a shortcut for that we talked about yesterday. So now we're going to go ahead and do a factor tree for 450. What were the two factors that you used for 450, Nico?
10 and 45.
Okay. So what are your factors for 10, Sneesha?
5 and 2.
Why do you guys always give me your big number first?
Because it's like,
It's easier that way.
It's like
Okay.
now with money.
See, I always do 2 and I always go small to big. Okay, Nico, for 45?
5 and 9.
There we go.
Then 3 and 3.
All right, Nico, go ahead and list my prime factors next to 450 for me in order from least to greatest.
2 times 3 times 3 times 5 times 5.
Okay. So we have step 1 completed, part of step 2 completed. What's the other part of step 2 that I need to do? Sanisha? I need to circle my numbers that they have, my prime numbers that they have in common. So what are my numbers that they have in common here, Sanisha?
2, 3, 5, 5.
Okay. With those numbers, I then drop down. I put G, C, F. What does GCF stand for? Yeah, greatest common factor. then I'm going to list the factors that they share or that they have in common. So what factors do they have in common, Paige?
3
So times 3.
times 5 times 5.
Okay. So now we're on step 3. We brought down, we listed the prime factors that they have in common, that they share. The rest is step 3 says I now need to multiply those together. So 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 5 is 30. And then 30 times 5 is
150.
150. So is 150 the greatest common factor of these two numbers I have up here?
Yeah.
Eh.
Oh, no.
Why not, Vernell?
I just said no.
Well, you guessed right. Can somebody tell me why 150 is just not the greatest common factor, Nico? Yeah, I didn't do my variables. So now I have to come back up to my number. I start at my first number. It has an M. Does my second number have an M? So how do I know which one to use?
The greatest.
Look at your notes.
Is it the
Use
greatest?
the left, use the 2.
Why do I use a 2?
I mean,
I just don't use
You use the smallest exponent. Let me show you why, though. So it's going to be 150, and you said we're going to use squared.
yeah.
And then we're going to come back up. I'm going to show you why we're going to use the squared in just a second. We come back up. It has the variable n. Does my second number have the variable n?
Yeah.
Which one's smaller?
And just by itself.
Just n by itself. So 150 m squared n is my greatest common factor. You do not have to write what I'm writing in the purple. So I'm going to write 600s variables out, okay? So if I'm going to write m to the third, how many times do I have to write that m out? 2, 3. How many n's do I have to write?
1.
Okay. How many, now if I do 450's variables, how many m's am I going to write out?
2.
How many n's am I going to write out? Okay. So now we need to find what they have in common. So we're going to circle our pairs. So I have a pair of, I have a pair of m's, I have another pair of m's, and I have a pair of n's, which would be m squared n. So we use the smallest variable because they both have at least 2. If I use the largest variable, it doesn't work, does it? Because there's not a pair to go with it. So we're going to use the variable with the smallest exponent.
Wait, that's not an n going straight down at the end?
Well, but it doesn't have anything to go with it, does it?
No, she's saying like, can't you just up and down besides one?
Instead of circling it that way, I could have circled that way, yeah. It doesn't matter which way you circle it.
Now we confused.
All right.